everyone. I'm Ronnie.
And I'm Jessica.
And you're listening to Clean With Me,
the podcast where we walk you through cleaning your house.
Thanks for joining me. In today's episode, I'm going to talk you through cleaning your kitchen, and I'm also going to help you work on changing your mindset. So if you consider yourself messy or disorganized, this episode is for you. It's time to gear up for your cleaning session. Maybe you need to freshen up and get yourself feeling presentable. Maybe you need to light a candle or start a wax warmer, straighten up the front entrance of your home, start a load of laundry, or just take care of some glaring problem. If you have little toddlers, maybe it's a spill somewhere or something. I don't know, but it's time to gear up for your cleaning session, whatever that means for you, so that you can be at peace while cleaning your kitchen. Speaking of getting presentable, this morning I was planning on going for a walk, and so I got dressed to the shoes, ran a brush through my hair, washed my face, put on mascara, basically did my minimums as far as getting presentable, went up to the gas station and got my favorite coffee. I was going to go for a walk, and then I realized that my phone wasn't charged, and I need to be able to either chat on the phone or listen to something in my earbuds when I'm out on a walk. So I ended up skipping the walk, but I've been so good about walking and doing other workouts. Like, I'm totally in fitness mode. So one thing led to another. After I charged my phone, I needed to take care of something on my computer related to the podcast. And so I missed my walk today, but I don't feel bad about it. My point being that the good thing that came of this situation is that I got dressed and ready super early in the day, which can help you feel more productive, and you end up getting a lot done. So that's my little pep talk for getting ready early on, even on a day where you're not planning to go anywhere. It can help get you motivated. So if you plan on going for a walk, that can help. Like, maybe you've got kids that you could plop into a stroller, or, maybe you have, your significant other at home in the mornings or whatever to watch the kids. I don't know, but there was a phase several years back where I did still have little kids at home, but I also had teenagers who could babysit while I went on my walk. So in addition to getting presentable early in the day, I'm also encouraging you to get some exercise in, if possible. And walks don't always have to be in the morning, but if you're like me and you live somewhere where it's still hot this time of year, it can kind of be a necessity to, walk early in the cool of the day. And I don't really go for walks at night. When I had a huge dog, I did, but at this point, I do my walks in the morning until the weather gets nicer, and then I have the option of walking in the middle of the day. Hopefully by now you've done whatever you needed to do to gear up for your cleaning session. Since we are going to be working in the kitchen, an important step is making sure that you get all of your dishes to the sink area. Maybe there are cups on your nightstand, your husband's ice cream bowl from late last night, a dish in a teenager's room, a forgotten plate on the dining room table. Let's get all those to the kitchen and right next to the sink, because one of the first things you're going to be doing is starting on your dishes. Now, once I get everything to the kitchen and even move the things from around the kitchen, the dishes, to the sink area, basically I put them right next to the sink. Once I do that, I like to look around and see what else I can do to straighten the kitchen before washing dishes. And the reason I do it that way oftentimes is because I like to either get the dishwasher loaded and running and start soaking the remaining items, or I like to get if I'm hand washing, get the first sink load pre-rinsed and soaking in super hot water. And then while it's soaking, I'll take that damp dish rag, wring it out, and start wiping down the countertops. I usually spray something first and then wipe down. Okay. So I like to basically wipe down my counters during doing dishes, and that is made possible by clearing everything else and putting it away. Because let's face it, the mess in your kitchen might be more than just some dirty dishes. Okay. And some of you might be listening thinking, no, I'm washing my dishes as I go. I put things in the dishwasher throughout the day, or I wash individual dishes as I go, or I wash dishes after each meal. I encourage you to just be deep cleaning your kitchen while I talk. There are going to be times that you listen to this episode where you don't have a countertop full of dishes or a sink full of dishes. I get that. That's great. You're ahead of the game today. But not all of you are going to be ahead of the game at any given time. We all face those dishasters. So I'm kind of assuming that you're dealing with a disaster. If you're not, move on to the surfaces in your kitchen. But things that I would deal with after getting the dishes to the sink area are putting away my seasonings, maybe quickly washing the cutting board. I have one that I display and then putting it back on display, putting cereal boxes away, and just miscellaneous items. Last night, I had plopped my tote bag and my purse on the kitchen island. It's not what I usually do, but sometimes there's either a kitchen island or just an edge of a countertop where we tend to place things when we walk into the house because we don't want to leave them on the floor or whatever, and we set things down. A lot of people have kind of paper clutter at one end of their countertop. If that's where you want to have things, I recommend having like a basket there. I've talked about that in other episodes. But let's just straighten up the kitchen and get those countertops cleared off. Another thing you might want to do or need to do is put away the clean stuff before you start doing dishes. Maybe you have a drying rack and a drying pad, or, with dishes kind of stacked up, and you don't want to have to try to strategically place things on top of that pile. Or maybe you have a dishwasher full of clean dishes and you need to put that stuff away. I'll make a confession, and I've said this before, but I don't expect you to have heard every episode or remember everything I say. I have it on at least one of my kids' chore lists to put away the clean dishes once a week. That way I get a break from putting stuff away, and if I am adding to the pile now and then, it gets cleared off and I get that clean slate. Sometimes there's a chore that one household member or family member just doesn't like, but somebody else thinks it's not a big deal. I'm definitely in favor of giving people chores they like when possible. Now, obviously, in life, we have to do things we don't want to do. And I'm not saying not to give your kids tasks that they don't want to do. But when possible, it's like, hey, would you rather do this or that? And let them make the choice. One exception to that, I'm not going to go on and on about this because not everybody is in a stage of life where they have teenagers. But one exception is I do make sure that before a teenager is old enough to move out, that they have done every type of chore, every type of basic household chore, meaning they've had to deep clean a bathroom. They've had to wash the dishes and wipe down the surfaces. They've had to sweep and mop the floor, and so on. I mean, obviously, kids are always like picking up, vacuuming, those easier tasks. But I make sure that they know how to do everything, but something they hate might not be their regular chore if there's another kid or an adult who just likes to take that on. So if you have clean dishes to put away or you need to straighten your countertops, go ahead and do that. Or maybe you're ready to just dive in and start that dishwasher load or that first sink load. Okay, so I promised I was going to talk to you about your mindset. Now, a lot of us will call ourselves messy or disorganized, or we might even just be more tactful and say that we're creative, and that makes it hard to keep a tidy home. And I get that. Okay, it could be that we say this to certain people who we're really honest with. It could be that we say it to our husband. It could be that we say it to ourselves. Okay, we all have people who we don't really open up to, and we want to just portray ourselves as good homemakers when they're coming over. We clean the house or whatever, right? But to some people, we say, hey, I'm messy, I'm disorganized, excuse the mess, whatever. What I want you to realize is that when you're calling yourself messy, either to yourself or to someone else, or you're calling yourself disorganized, or you're just saying, hey, I can't, you're saying in maybe a more tactful way, I can't really keep my house the way other people do. I struggle with it. I caution you not to keep reinforcing that message, because you can change. You can teach an old dog new tricks, so to speak. Okay? If you tend to be messy, it doesn't mean you're always going to be messy. You can absolutely turn over a new leaf in your home. Think about an older person in your life who keeps a really clean house. Okay? Whether it's your mom, your mother-in-law. Have you ever thought about the fact that they may not have kept their house that tidy when their kids were toddlers or something? Okay? You're looking at the house of someone who over the years has perfected their housekeeping skills and probably doesn't have as many obstacles to keeping a clean house anymore. But even in your current condition, okay, whatever challenges you face, whether you have small children, whether you have pets that are messing up your house, whether you have a messy spouse, whether you just can't, you're so distracted and scatterbrained that you don't even know what you're doing and you can't remember to put things back, or you're homeschooling 5 kids or something. Whatever the situation, no matter how difficult your life seems, you can improve. Are you going to keep your house as tidy as your mom or mother-in-law whose kids are grown when you have kids? Probably not, but you can get out of the messy category. You can pull yourself out of that regardless of how busy you are. So I want you to stop reinforcing that message. And while you're on your journey of trying to keep a cleaner house, start identifying as someone who is organized. Okay? Have you ever heard that saying, dress for the job you want? I know nowadays people dress more casual for work, and I get that. But when I was younger, there was a saying, dress for the job you want. And kind of the spirit of that saying was, don't just wear the most casual outfit you could get away with at work and still be following the dress code. Maybe dress like your boss, okay? Because you're hoping to get promoted to management and you want people to see you that way. And again, I realize our society as a whole is getting more casual, but I want you to kind of take that analogy and use it in your thinking about housekeeping, okay? If you want to be a more organized person, just starting today, be more organized. Yes, it's still going to be a gradual process. You're going to be organizing little, areas at a time. Maybe today you're just organizing your silverware drawer or your junk drawer in the kitchen, or just getting down to dish zero and turning over a new leaf about keeping the dishes done. Your transformation into a tidy housekeeper is going to happen in baby steps. It's going to happen with adding new routines, okay, adding to those minimums that you're already doing. It is going to be a gradual process, but you can change your mindset now. Stop calling yourself messy and do the little things each day, and stop reinforcing negative messages that you've been telling yourself in the past. In my notes here, I printed something off of a website, and it says to, with an empty dishwasher, put a dishwasher safe cup filled with plain white vinegar on the top rack of the dishwasher. Using the hottest water available, run the dishwasher through a cycle. It's kind of funny because I have the dish with the vinegar in every load that I do. It's not just a way that I deep clean the dishwasher, which is what this article was talking about. I literally do it every time, but it has to do with the hardness of the water. But sometime when you're deep cleaning your dishwasher, you may want to do that, even if that's not something that you have to do all the time. It also says you could sprinkle a cup full of baking soda around the bottom of the dishwasher and run it through a short but complete cycle using the hottest water. And I know I've seen products you can buy, dishwasher cleaners, that you can run through. And of course, they're also talking about other ways to deep clean your dishwasher, wiping around the seal of the door, wiping down the outside of the dishwasher. Now, when I wipe down the outside, it's usually when I'm wiping down the outside of my refrigerator, microwave, oven. I do all that kind of at once, where I'm cleaning the appliance fronts. So if you're one of the few people listening who does not have dishes to do, but you have a dishwasher, maybe you could put in the vinegar or the baking soda or a dishwasher cleaning product and do kind of a cleaning cycle. By now you're plugging away on dishes, hopefully, or surfaces, or a little of both. I know that the conventional wisdom is to just stick with one task and focus on it. That is true to an extent, but I feel like that rule is made to be broken in the kitchen. A lot of times I'll wash a few dishes and then go and wipe something down and kind of go back and forth, because as long as I'm staying in the kitchen the entire time and I keep moving, my kitchen's going to get clean. This is especially true if I've got my earbuds in and I'm listening to a podcast or some type of YouTube video that doesn't require me to stare at it, or I'm chatting on the phone. Especially, music doesn't really distract me, but especially if I'm chatting on the phone, I might kind of jump around as far as what I'm working on in the kitchen. I'll wash a sink load of dishes, get some things soaking, and then I might just hyper fixate on, scrubbing a certain wall or something. And then I'll go back and do some more dishes. And a big part of it is I do not like standing in one place. I never feel well when I'm standing in one place for too long. And, I'm regularly walking 2.5 miles 3 days a week. So, and I'd even go further, but the weather ends up getting hot, or I start to get bored or whatever. So I can walk a lot longer than I can stand in one place. So I just feel better when I take breaks if I'm facing a disaster, meaning I move around and do other things in the kitchen. Okay. But if I leave the kitchen, that's where I'm going to get distracted and not complete the task. So look at the kitchen as a task rather than a bunch of separate tasks. When you're telling yourself, I'm a failure because I won't just stay focused on doing these dishes. I keep wanting to go do something else. No, if you're staying in the kitchen, great. Now, if you're wandering to another room or plopping down on the couch, yes, you've gotten distracted. You've lost your focus. But I do give you permission, if you're like me and you don't want to stand in one place, or you want the dishes to soak between sink loads, I do give you permission to kind of jump around doing different individual tasks because you're still staying focused on the greater task, which is cleaning the kitchen. Another thing that I might do as kind of a way of multitasking while doing dishes and walking away from the dishes is I will empty my refrigerator out and start wiping down the inside of the refrigerator. It goes hand in hand with doing dishes because there are going to be some containers of old food where you toss the food and then you need to soak that container and then wash it out. Or if it's not too bad, pre-rinse it under running water with a scrub brush and put it into the dishwasher. Cleaning out your refrigerator will generate more dishes to wash. So it kind of goes hand in hand. If you did it after you were completely done with your dishes, then it's like, oh, great. Now I've got to leave these things to soak. And now I'm not down to dish zero. So that's something that pairs well with doing the dishes. You do a sink load, get some things soaking, walk away, start cleaning out your refrigerator. And just be plugging away on your dishes or your surfaces. I'm jumping around with different ideas for you, but of course I'm not expecting you to do everything I'm talking about. I just want to give you the reminders and get you thinking about, how to be more efficient in cleaning your kitchen while you're plugging away on those dishes or surfaces. Another thing that goes kind of hand in hand with doing dishes is cleaning the inside of your microwave. You can do that whole thing where you take a microwave safe glass bowl and you could put like vinegar in it or something. You could fill it with a 1/4 cup baking soda and 1 cup of water. Okay. By the way, this article I'm getting ideas from today is from MoritzFineDesign.com. So check that out if you're interested. Their recipe calls for a 1/4 cup baking soda and 1 cup of water. You boil it for 2 minutes in the microwave, and then you wipe down the inside of the microwave because it'll be easy to clean after boiling that mixture. Okay. And I have that like glass plate, the thing that rotates. I usually put that in the sink and scrub it with the Scrub Mommy tool or Scotch-Brite sponge, whatever I'm using, and wash that by hand. And then, of course, when you're done cleaning the inside of your microwave, you wipe down the outside. So that's a good bonus chore if you're not overwhelmed today. We all have those days where we just need to get the dishes done, wipe down the stovetop and countertops, and give the floor a quick sweep. Okay, we all have those days. Maybe spot mop any sticky areas on the floor. But other days, we're going deeper with our cleaning. While you're working in your kitchen, I'll just give you a little update on what's going on with me. For those of you who don't already know this, I am working part-time at my kids' school, very, very part-time. Okay. I used to have for like over a year and a half, I had a job where I was a content writer, and it was a full-time 40-hour-a-week remote position where I was basically sedentary on the computer. It took a lot of mental concentration. It was mentally exhausting writing all day, every day. I was doing that in addition to the podcast and, of course, just my responsibilities as a mom. My 3 youngest kids are living at home, so I definitely had a lot on my plate. And my kids are in a hybrid school where they only go to school 3 days a week, so I've got to help them with homework on the home days. Nothing to do with COVID. It's just a university model, they call it, where they don't go to school every day, and it keeps the tuition down and allows the parents to be involved and whatnot. There's not a private school in my area for their age group where I could send them 5 days. It's not that I'm just trying to be involved. Okay. But that's the way we do it at the school. And it's a great school, and it's really good for parents who want to homeschool, but want more structure. But it's also good for people who just like the idea of putting their kids in a private school, but it would be expensive to pay for a 5-day-a-week program, or there's not one available in your area. So yeah, it's a classical Christian school university model. And I'm not saying that's, it's the be all end all, it's for everybody, but it is a great program and it's working really well for us. Well, I'm working there part-time, meaning I work like 2 half days on a regular basis. So I'm working like less than 8 hours a week on a regular basis, also as a teacher's aide, and I'm kind of overseeing a computer skills lab time. So yeah, the kids can consider me a teacher, but I'm also a substitute teacher. I'm the first one they call if they need a sub. And so, I might get called in on a Monday, or I might get asked to work all day on Tuesday instead of half day, and so on. So yeah, it's very part-time, and it allows me to kind of have the best of both worlds as far as being a stay-at-home mom and, helping my daughter run this podcast, which is our own business. That's part-time as well. It still gives me time to not feel overwhelmed and spend quality time with my husband and kids and grandkids. I also babysit my grandkids several evenings a week, and they go to bed early, so we get some quality time with them, put them to bed early, they spend the night, I bring them back in the morning. So that's the thing I'm doing lately. Even though it sounds like a lot, and yes, I'm a busy person, I'm still enjoying my life way more than when I had the 40-hour-a-week remote position, because that was just too much for everything else, with everything else that I have going on. And I'm still working less hours, even if you count, you put, add the podcast with the part-time teacher's aide / substitute. It's going well. Let's face it, I like to keep pretty busy. I've got to avoid doing too much, but I also have to do enough to keep myself, I guess, mentally stimulated. So, and I like to contribute to the household and stuff like that. But since my husband does have a full-time job where he works more than 40 hours a week, I am the primary homemaker. Okay, that having been said, he's just always been the type of guy who does a lot around the house, and he's super helpful. His main contribution lately is cooking 2-3 nights a week when he's in town. But he's the type of guy, if it's a Saturday and he sees me cleaning, he'll get up and get involved. I guess I'm only mentioning that because I catch a lot of hate where people are like, oh, they just assume that because I have a cleaning podcast that I am doing all of the housework or something like that. No, it's a collaborative effort. But am I doing more housework than any member of my household? Yes, I am. My kids have school. They have homework. They need time to be kids. They like to go to the gym and go on bike rides and all kinds of other stuff that, youth group activities, stuff like that. But yes, I have a spreadsheet that has chores for each of the kids. And I change it up from time to time. Remember, I talked about making sure that they learn to do all the chores. It's usually what they like to do, but they all get a turn doing something that they don't necessarily like, just so that they're trained on that particular task. Hopefully you've gotten your dishes done and you've cleaned the surfaces in your kitchen. Don't forget to give it a sweep and maybe spot mop it if you don't have time to fully mop it today, but maybe you want to put on some music and sweep and mop. I like to listen with my earbuds when I'm listening to random videos and podcasts, but sometimes when it's time to sweep and mop, I will use like a Bluetooth speaker and just blare some music while I quickly sweep and mop the floor. Special thanks to our financial supporters who support the show either on Patreon, Spreaker, who've sent Venmo or Cash App donations, or who are subscribing on the Purple app. That's called Apple Podcasts, that Purple app on your iPhone. Today's shout out goes to Lena, who has made an especially large pledge to support our podcast, but I appreciate every amount, even, at the $1 on Patreon level, or if you're an Apple subscriber. I appreciate that so much. We don't even expect anyone to support us financially at any level, but when you support us at any level, you gain access to bonus episodes, and we really feel that you'll benefit from those. But when someone goes above and beyond, we are humbled and we are so, so grateful. But if you're not able to support financially, even just listening to this show helps us. Please be sure to click follow on whichever podcast app you use and give us a 5-star rating and review. It doesn't cost a dime. We appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, happy cleaning. I'll talk to you soon.